Hello, guys. Welcome back. This is another episode of Ladies First. I am your host, Amber Vickers. And today we got a good show for you. Last week I had Garrett on and we talked about college football playoffs. So I really appreciate him coming on and giving his insight, his input on the college football playoff. Guys, go check out that broadcast. It was a great broadcast. Also, we did another broadcast earlier this week. Garrett and Michael and we discussed college football playoffs again because things changed. The rankings came out on Tuesday. And Alex, I'll get to your question in a minute. And we really had a good time. It was a deep discussion. We had our own unwrapped panel kind of figuring out who the committee would want to be in and who we would want to be in. But it was a great discussion nonetheless. I thank Garrett so much for coming on and discussing that with me. But of course, guys, we got to pay some bills first. This is episode 17 of Ladies First. So I will get back to talking about the ladies first, of course. All right, let's pay some bills. teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Get you some unwrapped gear. I would be wearing my shirt, but they're in the washer right now. So I have 2 unwrapped t-shirts, an unwrapped pouch, and some unwrapped joggers. I'm getting ready to order on Friday when I get paid some more unwrapped gear. And I'm going to start showing you guys what I have. You already seen the 2 t-shirts. You haven't seen my pouch or my joggers. I just washed my joggers. But when I start getting stuff in, I'm going to start showing it to you guys so you guys can see the quality of the Unwrapped Sports Network gear. Also, you like to gamble. Alex is in here right now. He just asked me a question. Mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. The minimum is $50. I think the max is $1,000. Garrett told me. So you guys go do that. Want to win some holiday money. Alex and Corey, Bets Unwrapped goes live on Saturdays. They used to go live on Friday, but now they go live on Saturdays. Also, Count the Bucket's first episode was supposed to be Wednesday, but it's a little jam-packed in there on Wednesdays. So we decided to move it to Saturday, the time to be announced. So the first podcast for the Count the Bucket with Andrew and I will be Saturday. It's either going to be before Alex and Corey or after Alex and Corey. Side note, on the bet side, he has the charges at plus 3.5 on separate parlays. Okay. So if you're bettors, you know what this means. He has the charges plus 3.5 on separate parlays. So I'll answer your question, Alex. Who do I have tonight for Monday Night Football? Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. They play too many days, guys. They play too many days. Let me look at, you know what? I've been so wrapped up in everything. I forgot there was football tonight. I really did. Okay, Chargers and Raiders. Division rival. Ugh. I'm going to go Raiders. Chargers are coming off that win. They finally won a close game. They finally won a close game. The Chargers finally won a close game. I'm going to go Raiders here. They're fighting for a playoff spot. I think Carr gets it done. I'll go Raiders. I'll go Raiders by less than a score or less. So your bet, Chargers have lost 9 straight divisional games. I think that ends tonight. Okay, so you're picking the underdog because ESPN has the Raiders at 3-point favorite. So you're picking the underdog, Alex. So you really want to win some money. I'm assuming Alex really wants to win some money because he's picking the underdog tonight, according to ESPN. So guys, you can go check that out. Me and Alex are talking bets right now in the chat as we speak. That's a good segue. Also, sore achy muscles. It's getting cold outside. It snowed in Oklahoma. It snowed maybe about 6 inches. I know up north it is snowing like crazy. RxHemp.com CBD cream can rub those sore achy muscles out. Use the code RxHemp/USN and get 10% off of your order if you have sore achy muscles. That'll help you out a lot, especially if you're up north and you're dealing with the snow. We dealt with the snow here in the Midwest and Oklahoma for a little bit, but it's starting to die down and cool off and warm up, and the snow has melted. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into the show. A lot to touch on today. A lot to touch on today. Things have been happening quickly and fast. And Alex, I appreciate the shout out for the show. I think the show will be great with Andrew and I. Pretty good personality meshes. I mesh with Andrew's personality very, very well. He's a very exciting guy, and I love having fun with him. I love being on streams with him. Gary said, come on, Alex, Raiders -3 is free money. Well, we'll see. I can't wait. Yeah, Andrew has a lot of hot takes. A lot, but I love him. I love him. I love his hot takes. We will have a lot of fun together on Count the Bucket. Of course, we're going to get Alex and Corey on Count the Bucket to give you guys some NBA bets as well. People play NBA fantasy basketball. Andrew and I have talked about doing like a little fantasy thing between him and I. I'm not big on fantasy basketball. I'm just going to be honest. I'm more of a football fantasy type of gal. I'm not big on basketball fantasy, but for Count the Bucket, we're probably going to incorporate that into the show just to make it fun and to get others involved and interact. So it should be a good time. Okay, guys, women's college basketball next week or the week, probably next year. I want my first guest. Well, not my first guest. She would probably be my third guest. I've had 2 guests so far. I've had Nick and I've had Garrett. My third guest will be, you guys should do a daily lineup on the day after the episode. Okay, we'll talk about that, Alex. You, Andrew, and I should all talk about that. We should definitely talk about that. But my first guest of the new year, I want to be a lady. I want her to come on here and talk about women's college basketball. March will be 2 months away, and you'll start to see some teams start to separate themselves. So I really want a special guest, a woman who's really, really, really deep into women's college basketball to come on. I already have somebody in mind. I'm not going to tell you guys. I follow her on Twitter. She works for the Overtime, not the Overtime, but she works for Overtime, and she covers women's sports. So I want her to come on and be my first guest of the new year and talk about women's college basketball. I don't go deep into detail about women's college basketball, so that's why I want to bring someone on to go deep into detail. I watch enough of it to know, because I play college basketball, so I understand the game. I watch enough of it to know, but this young lady really is ingratiated into women's college basketball, and I really want to get her on and get her insight and her input. It's ladies first, so we're going to talk about the women first. I'm going to end the show with an amazing accomplishment by a woman that has done a lot for the game of basketball as far as women are concerned. So I'm going to end the show with that, but we're going to begin the show with this. There have been some upsets. And here's the things, guys. Here's the thing. I talked about this and I had to put my foot in my mouth. How the talent balance is a little off for women's college basketball, and it's not that off for men's college basketball. Because when they get to the NCAA tournament, men, there are a lot of upsets. And the women's game is not really like that. But this is a special year. It is 2020. There are some strange things that have happened in 2020, starting in January. Stranger things have happened. So I'm going to go through these rankings real quick. There were a shakeup in the rankings. I'm going to do the AP top 25, and I'm going to start with 25. And I'm going to give you their record. Gonzaga is 3-2. DePaul's 2-2. South Florida is 3-1. Texas is 4-1. Oregon State is 3-2. Missouri State 3-1. Michigan's 5-0. Syracuse is 4-0. I talked about a young lady from Syracuse that was battling cancer. And now she's back on the court, averaging double figures. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, the week before Garrett came on. Northwestern is 1-0. Indiana's 2-1. Maryland is 3-1. Mississippi State 2-1. Arkansas 7-1. A surprise in the SEC. They have a stacked team. Arkansas watched that game against Baylor. UCLA is 4-1. A&M is 6-0. Texas A&M, guys. Kentucky is 6-0. Kentucky hired a Black women's coach. Shout out to Kentucky. I think the SEC has 6 Black women head coaches. I'm going to talk about this story as well today, guys. Baylor's 3-1. Baylor took an L to Arkansas. Oregon is 5-0. Looks like they're just picking up where they left off last year. The surprise team this year is Arizona. Arizona is 4-0. I talked about a point. She's probably one of the best point guards in the country, but I'm going to bring somebody on to really talk about her because I know she knows her better than I do. South Carolina 4-1. South Carolina took that L to a team I'm going to mention in a minute. NC State 6-0. So South Carolina played NC State. NC State upset South Carolina. Dawn Staley went on a rant. I mean, she was upset. She said, "I've never had a team play like that." Pretty much, they got on the baseline. I know what their rant meant. They didn't touch a basketball. They got on the baseline, watched film, got on the baseline. Probably had 2-a-days. I don't know what the NCAA protocols are now because of COVID, but when the coach goes on a rant like that, you just know that it did not end well at all. UConn is 1-0. UConn they're playing their second game tonight. They're currently playing. They played their first game, and Paige got buckets. let's just say that. Louisville's 5-0. Louisville being 5-0 does not surprise me. Louisville is a very, very good team, very well coached team. And Stanford, I'm going to talk about their coach at the end of the show, is 4-0. Now, there have been some upsets. Baylor lost to Arkansas. South Carolina lost to NC State. NC State's undefeated. They got 2 first-place votes, actually. UConn is their second game tonight. They're in action. They started late because of COVID protocol. So there's been some upsets in the women's game, and I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. There have been some other upsets as well. I'm going to go through them. Right now, UConn is playing Creighton. It's in the fourth quarter right now with 8 minutes left, and UConn is up 67-34. NC State is playing Wake Forest on the ACC. It's not the ACC network. It's the ACCNX. What is that? It's not the ACC network because I don't have it on Hulu, and Hulu has the ACC network. But anyway, Wake Forest is playing NC State. NC State is up 61-44. Northwestern, number 16 in the country, they're playing Purdue. They're up 49-35. South Carolina's getting it together. Dawn Staley had that firm talking and that firm practice. I already know what practice was about. She just had a whistle and just told you to get on the baseline. So South Carolina's up 53-28. Syracuse is down in North Carolina 6-14 early there in the first quarter. And Tennessee upset Indiana 66-58 earlier today. So there have been some upsets in the women's game that I did not expect. I'm gonna go through them and look at them because I've seen them. I've seen them happen. So yes, DePaul upset Kentucky yesterday. They beat them, yesterday, 86-82. So that was an upset. Let's see. Okay, that game got canceled. Let's go to Monday. No upsets on Monday. Let's go to Sunday. Oregon trounced Oregon State, but Oregon's ranked 5th in the country now. They were ranked 8th. They beat them by 20. So that's not an upset. Oh, Northern Iowa beat South Dakota State 65-48. South Dakota State was ranked 22 at the time. That's an upset that I saw. A lot of games got canceled. I'm going to talk about that as well, guys. Kansas State upset South Dakota State on that Thursday. So on Saturday, they got upset by Northern Iowa. On Thursday, they got upset, which was last Thursday, guys. They got upset by Kansas State 62-53. Let me see. Let me go back to the 9th. Louisville trounced Duke. Carol Lawson's the coach for Duke. Garrett said, "Let's go Panthers." They got upset twice in 1 week. South Dakota State did. Let me look. Louisville upset Duke. No, that's not an upset, but Louisville beat Duke pretty badly, 73-49. Like I said, Carol Lawson's now the head coach at Duke. She used to play for the University of Tennessee. Used to play for the late, great Pat Summitt. Now, Garrett wanted me to talk about her. There's a player at Iowa, and she is tearing it up right now. I had her name, Garrett. I'm going to mention her because I saw it on my timeline. Let me go to Big Ten Play. I saw it on my timeline, and I said, wow, Garrett wanted me to talk about her. So I get a chance to talk about her. So there's a player at Iowa who is averaging, let me go to it. They just played Iowa State, in-state rival. There's a player at Iowa. Oh, no, that's Iowa State. Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark has been on a tear here of late. She had 34 against Iowa State, and this was on Wednesday the 9th. She's been going on a tear, and somebody mentioned her on Twitter. Somebody mentioned her on Twitter right after me and Garrett got off our show. And I told Garrett, I said, hey, somebody mentioned her on Twitter. So I follow a lot of women that follow women's college basketball, and it just happens. It so happens that they mentioned her on Twitter. But Caitlyn Clark is going on a tear. She had 34 against Iowa State. Let's look at her points. She's been going on a tear. I'm going to start November. The first game of the season, she had 27. Then she had 30. Goodness. And then she had 23. Okay, you know, she had against Michigan State. She had 35 against Michigan State. So she's been on a tear. She's been on a scoring tear. She might lead the country in scoring. I'll look that up and see who's leading. Let me look that up right now and see who's leading women's college basketball in scoring. I'll go on ESPN.com. All right. Right now, I'll talk about that in a minute, guys. It's a good game going on right now that I'm not watching. Women's college basketball. Why don't you? No, I don't want that. See, ESPN is just, they don't never give me what I want, guys. They never give me what I want. Rankings, recruiting, stats. Let's go stats, guys. All right, let's look at points. Caitlyn Clark is number 2 in points right now. She has 29. She's averaging 29.8. She has an in-state rival that's averaging 30.8. Her name is, I don't know what her name is. Last name Jones. Jones? No, Jonas? Jonins? I'm horrible at pronouncing names, guys. I say this every time I come on. But she's number 2 in the country right now, averaging 29.8 points per game. She has an in-state rival at Iowa State that's averaging 30.8 points per game. So she's doing her thing. She's doing her thing. Is she in the top 5 and anything else? Let me see. I don't think she's in the top 5 and anything else. Nope. Points. She's number 2 in points right now. So she has a battle with her in-state rival when it comes to points right now. So I love it. I love seeing it. Averaging 20 is difficult. 25 points is difficult. Depending on what kind of system your coach runs in college, it's very hard to do. But she's averaging 29.8. And it looks like in order for Iowa to be successful, she's going to have to continue at that scoring clip, which is fine by me. So I told you guys who was in action tonight for the women's game. Let's jump to the men's game. Right now, Texas Tech is playing Kansas at Texas Tech. So that score right now is 34-36. It's on ESPN. It start the second half. It just started the second half, about 16 minutes and 25 seconds left in the second half. Creighton is playing St. John's. St. John's. Creighton is up 58-50. They're on FS1, Fox Sports 1. It's the second half, 12 minutes and 30 seconds left. And that's all for today for the men's game. Now, I want to say something about college basketball, and it's probably before I get into the NFL. I got a jet, but Gonzaga, Iowa prediction for Saturday. Ooh, I forgot they play Saturday. Is Jalen healthy? Is Jalen healthy? Is he playing? Is Jalen playing? Because that makes a huge difference, in my opinion. They play at 11 a.m. Is Jalen Suggs playing? Do you know if Jalen Suggs is playing, Garrett? Because if he's playing, I'll go Gonzaga. But if Jalen Suggs is not playing, I'm going to go Iowa. If Jalen Suggs isn't playing. And I think he hurt his Achilles, but I haven't really heard much about it. I really haven't. Jalen Suggs playing, I'll go Gonzaga. Jalen Suggs not playing, I'll go Iowa. All right, Garrett. On waiting for COVID results. Huh. Oh. Well, I know their program had a COVID scare, but I didn't know that he had COVID scare. I thought it was his Achilles because he hurt his, according to my kid, he hurt his Achilles last game. And I haven't heard anything about it since. Like, they've been very quiet about Jalen Suggs' injury there at Gonzaga. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's some good games on Saturday. Whoa. Louisville and Wisconsin. North Carolina and Kentucky. UCLA, Ohio State. That's some good games on Saturday. But yeah, I have to see. He's playing. I got Gonzaga. He doesn't play. I got Iowa. I hope that helps. Garrett, I will talk to you later, of course. I appreciate you chiming in. But yeah, there's a good game going on right now. Kansas and Texas Tech. So I'm going to keep an eye on that game. But what I want to talk about is, as far as person, but he might have Achilles is good to go per ESPN, but he might have COVID. Oh, that's my next topic actually is COVID. Okay. So if he has COVID, even if he doesn't have, if he has COVID, I'm going to go with Iowa. If he doesn't have COVID, I might still go Iowa because I don't think his ankle is fully healthy. I don't think he's healthy. I'm going to see how he moves, but those guards from Iowa can shoot it. And, Garza is a beast down low, but I think Gonzaga has the bigs to throw at Garza, but I don't think he's fully healthy. I just don't. So I'll probably go Iowa. Even with Suggs, I'm going to go Iowa. I'll go Iowa. Let's look at the point spread on that. Alex will be happy about this. Do they have a point spread on that? They don't even have a point spread on it. Well, they gave Iowa a 63.4% chance to win. They gave Gonzaga a 36.6% chance to win. So I don't know, but I'm going to go Iowa because I don't think Jalen is healthy. I'll go Iowa there for you, Garrett. All right, let's talk about this COVID situation. Let's talk about Kiante Johnson, Florida's leading man. He passed out during the timeout. I didn't get to see it during the game, but I saw it on Twitter. He's walking back to the huddle and just passed out. Why? This is a touchy subject. Why is the NCAA playing? I need someone to answer that for me, because University of Houston, their whole roster has tested positive for COVID. I think including Kelvin Sampson, if I'm not mistaken. Their whole 15-man roster has tested positive for COVID. Then you had a star basketball player literally pass out on national television. Why are these kids playing? Why? I don't understand why they're playing. I have mentioned this before. I don't think they should play. But now you're seeing the effects of COVID. So many games have been postponed. So many games have been canceled. Even with NCAA football, they canceled OU West Virginia. They're just going to go straight to the Big 12 championship game. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Protecting these kids should be the number one thing you should be doing, but you're not doing that. If 15 players, a whole basketball roster has COVID at the University of Houston, and I think Kelvin Sampson might have it too. I'm not sure. I got to go back in. Let me go back in. I'm going to go back and look at the report, but I just don't get it. I just don't quite understand the logic behind it. I don't know if they're going to make it through a full season. Seeding these teams is going to be very, very difficult to seed these teams because teams have missed games. Teams have postponed games. Teams have not had all their players due to COVID. It's just so much that's been going on. I don't understand why they're playing. I don't get it. Football or basketball. Football made it through. They actually got to make it through, but they canceled a lot of games. The Big Ten had to reverse their decision saying, Ohio State played enough games. We're going to put them in college football playoff. How we feel about that? You guys should go check out the video with Garrett and Michael and I. We had our opinions about why the Big Ten made that decision. Also, me and Garrett have our opinions about why the Big Ten made that decision as well last week on Ladies First. But it's just a lot going on in college, and they're teenagers. They're teenagers, and I can't stress that enough. When you're a teenager and you're in college, you think that you are indestructible. I mean, you do. I did. As a college athlete, I was like, oh man, I could never get hurt. I could never, if COVID was around when I was in college, I'm not gonna say I would be reckless, but I wouldn't be as cautious as I am as an adult. Now, my mom being a nurse, that might be different. Let me just say the disclaimer, but what these kids have gone through, not being able to see their families, being isolated, and still testing positive for COVID has to be disheartening. So I think you have to shut down for like a week or two. I think Gonzaga has not played a basketball game. Let me get to it, guys. Gonzaga has not played a basketball game since was it West Virginia? I think it was West Virginia. Gonzaga hasn't played a basketball game since the 2nd of December. They played West Virginia. They came back and beat West Virginia. West Virginia 2-star players fouled out. That's when Jalen Suggs hurt his Achilles, in my opinion. They haven't played a basketball game since December 2nd. So, and they had some positive tests going on at Gonzaga. Now you have positive tests all around the University of Houston. So there's no telling when those guys are going to be able to play again. I just don't quite understand what's going on with that. It's not even in the top headlines for today, which is crazy. It's not even in the top headlines. I mean, that's ridiculous. I retweeted it on Twitter. I know I did, but it's not even in the top headlines. Let's see. Nope, they talked about Kiante Johnson. Cade Cunningham doing his thing. Shout out to Oklahoma State. Go Pokes. They're not even talking about it in the headlines. I mean, let me look it up for you guys because I retweeted today. Here it is. Oh, I see it on the. He said the entire team had COVID since the summer? Huh? Wait a minute. Here it is. It's ABC Houston. So we're going to look at this. I'm going to read this article. I don't quit all these pop-ups. Just pop-ups everywhere. Don't you guys really dislike that? So UH shuts down their voluntary workouts after 6 student athletes. This week, only 6 players have been cleared for practice. The team hopes to have all 8. Alcorn State. In today's media availability, head coach Kelvin Sampson said that our 15 student athletes had tested positive at some point for COVID since testing began this summer. So they've had a player, every player, test positive for COVID since the summer. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The news comes weeks after the university paused basketball activities due to positive COVID-19 tests and contact tracing in early December. So they've been paused since early December. Let's see. Sam Houston State and Rice have been postponed. Those are in-state rivals. Rice is not too far from the University of Houston. So since the summer, they've had all 15 players test positive. All of them. I don't think Kelvin Sampson has it. It just talked about the players. That's ridiculous. He had a player pass out on national television. Players are getting COVID left and right. I mean, what is the NCAA's breaking point, in my opinion? What is your breaking point to say, okay, what do we need to do about this season? Do we need to scrap it? what? I know you lost a lot of money because you missed March Madness last year. I know you did. You're probably going to lose more money this year because fans can't be in the stands. So what will it take for the NCAA to get a hold of this? I mean, our government hasn't got a hold of it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to talk reality. And the reality of the situation is it is very difficult to isolate kids, teenagers, not kids, but teenagers, young teenagers becoming adults, and say, okay, you can't do anything, but you're going to play for us for free and put your body and your health on the line, but you can't go home. You can't see your parents. Some of them might have children, young children. You can't see them. You can't see your families. You're just going to stay locked up, isolated, and play for free and put your body on the line for free. Emphasis for free. And that's difficult to do. I don't know what the NCAA is going to do. I think they should make a statement about the next steps they need to take, because we do not want another Kiante Johnson to happen. He might not even get to play this season, finish the season out because of what happened to him. They won't disclose whether or not it was COVID related or not. We don't know. They're amateurs, so they don't disclose health information on that level. I think they are unable to because they're amateurs. So we don't know. But we do know that COVID is rampant, and we do know that COVID is real. Protecting these athletes has to be the first priority. It just has to be. All right, guys, I'm switching gears to the NCAA football. Championship weekend, baby. It doesn't get any better than this. It does not. I repeat, it does not get any better than this. It just doesn't. Championship week. It just doesn't. So, Purdue and Indiana got canceled. Oregon and USC playing in the Pac-12 championship. Now, the reason why Oregon is going is because of positive tests from, I think, University of Washington. Yeah, because Oregon has 2 losses. So I think the reason Oregon is going is because Washington had positive tests. I think Washington was in that spot. If I'm thinking correctly, Washington was in that spot. Let me make sure that I was right. I know they were playing, I think they were playing USC they were playing USC because they won the Pac-12 North. They were 3-1. The Ducks are 3-2. Of course, USC is 5-0. So Washington was supposed to play USC. Washington can't play. So now they put Oregon in that spot to play USC for the Pac-12 title on Friday at 7 p.m. on Fox. I will be watching that. I like Slofus. I really like Slofus a lot, a quarterback from USC. Georgia Tech and Miami got canceled on Friday. So 2 Friday games have been canceled. Purdue and Indiana and Georgia Tech and Miami. But Oregon and USC is still on. Remember, Washington is supposed to be in the spot that Oregon is in because they won the Pac-12 North. USC won the Pac-12 South. On Saturday, we got Northwestern at Ohio State at 11 a.m. on Fox. They have Ohio State as a 20-point favorite. Goodness. We got Texas A&M. They need that win. I think if they win and some things happen, they might get into the playoff. They're going against Tennessee. Who's going to be Tennessee's starting quarterback? We don't know. Tennessee is a dumpster fire right now. Michael Lawson talked about it on the show on Tuesday after the BCS rankings. Talked about he thinks that they're going to clean house after this game. I expect Texas A&M to win that game. They're a 14-point favorite. They play at 11 a.m. on ESPN. They're playing in Knoxville. Oklahoma plays Iowa State, 7-2, 8-2. The Big 12 championship, 11 a.m. on ABC. Oklahoma is a 5.5 favorite. If you don't remember, at the beginning of the season, OU had a lead against Iowa State, and they squandered it. They had a lead against Kansas State. They squandered it. Spencer Rattler has played very, very well. The all Big 12 honors came out today. It was a joke. Let me just say that. I don't want to go into full detail about the Big 12 honors, but it was a joke. I think Spencer Rattler didn't get – I understand Purdy. I understand, but Spencer Rattler leads him in every category. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to sound biased, but it is what it is. Spencer Rattler did not get a Big 12 honors vote, I don't believe. I have to go back and look at it, but he didn't make first team or second team. I think it was Bryce Purdy and Sam Ehlinger. Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns. Sam Ehlinger. Oh my goodness. Ahead of Spencer Rattler. Almost lost my headphones on that one, guys. That's hilarious. Bryce Purdy. Okay, okay. But Spencer leads him in almost every category. Oklahoma's a 5.5 favorite. I expect OU to win that game. They're a different team now with Ronnie Perkins. He got Big 12 honors, and Ramondre Stevenson, I think he got honorable mention. I think if we would have had those players at the beginning of the season, outcomes could have been different. Defense is playing a lot better. Team is playing a lot better. Spencer has settled in, true freshman quarterback, redshirt freshman, but it's his first season starting. He will be a lot better next year. University of Oklahoma did get Caleb Williams, the number one quarterback in the class. So when Spencer's gone, Caleb will just step on in. It's going to be a very interesting game. I think it's going to be a one-score game. I like that betting line. I like 5.5. I think OU wins by one score. Iowa State's number 6 in the college football playoff. They're on the outside looking in. OU's number 10. So I don't think a Big 12 champ should get in. I don't think a 2-loss team should get in. But it's 2020. You never know. We threw some different scenarios out there. So you guys go back and watch those shows. Vanderbilt in Georgia got canceled. The Raging Cajuns, they beat Iowa State at the beginning of the year. They're playing Coastal Carolina for the Sun Belt Conference Championship. Coastal Carolina is 12-0. Well, is 11-0, excuse me. Will be 12-0 if they win. And they're ranked 13th, I believe. Or 12th in the college football playoff rankings. And they're undefeated. I love their field. I love their colors. I like Coastal. I cheer for the little guy. They barely squeaked by Troy last week. They got by BYU, but BYU's undefeated. They have a Heisman hopeful quarterback. So I like Coastal Carolina. They're playing the Raging Cajuns. The Raging Cajuns are hot. They beat Iowa State. They have a quality win. So if this was the old BCS formula, I'm going to tell you how the old BCS formula used to work. If this was the old BCS formula, Louisiana beats Iowa State. Iowa State beats OU. If OU were to beat Iowa State, that win would have so much significance. It doesn't matter if it was the beginning of the year, but that's the way the BCS formula works. Now, it would be even better if Iowa State beats OU twice. You beat Iowa State. OU's on a 6-0 run right now, but they lose to Iowa State twice. You beat Iowa State, and then you beat Coastal Carolina, who just beat BYU. That would matter in the BCS standings. I don't know how the college football rankings matter. They wouldn't put the Raging Cajuns in the football playoff, but they would get one of those, maybe one of those New Year's Six bowl games with one loss. And those quality wins, plus the team that they beat a quality team twice. It's hard to beat a team twice. OU has to do it every year when they go to Big 12 championship. Had to come back and beat Baylor from that bad first half. Oh, it was an eyesore. I almost turned the game off. It was an eyesore. Jalen Hurts came through. They beat Baylor. Probably the game of the year last year. And then they had to turn around and beat Baylor again in the Big 12 championship. Same thing with the University of Texas. The year before that, Kyler Murray, they beat University of Texas beat OU in the Red River shootout, Red River rivalry. And then they had to come back and beat the University of Texas in the Big 12 championship. That's happened last year. So, yeah, that's the way it would look to the BCS standing. So, that they're trying to get a good bowl game in the BCS formula. You beat Coastal Carolina, who beat BYU. You beat Iowa State, who beat OU twice. You see where I'm going with that? So OU is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. You beat, and then they get beat by Iowa State, who's also one of the hottest teams in the country right now. It would look good for the Raging Cajuns. I love their name, Raging Cajuns. I love it. But Coastal Carolina is a 3-point favorite. That's on ESPN at 2:30. I'm going to try to watch that game. Because on ABC at 3 o'clock, we got Clemson and Notre Dame. Now, this is going to cause some controversy. We threw out different scenarios. Does Notre Dame get in if they lose to Clemson? Clemson's out with 2 losses. We know Clemson's out if they lose. But if Notre Dame takes an L, do they still get in with 1 loss? If they don't, who do you replace them with? So that's going to be interesting. They got Clemson as a 10.5 favorite. Now, this game did go into overtime. DJ, I cannot pronounce his last name. I'm not going to butcher it. I know his first name is DJ. Backup quarterback for Clemson, threw for over 400 yards against their Notre Dame defense. Ian Book is playing very, very well right now. So I'm eager to see him and Trevor Lawrence go battle back and forth. Garrett believes that Trevor Lawrence is not going to throw for 400 plus yards, and DJ did. DJ threw for 400 plus yards and almost got their game against Notre Dame. So depends on how Travis Etienne plays, how those Clemson wide receivers plays. That Clemson defense, Brent Venables, shout out to Brent Venables. Depends on how that Clemson defense comes to play. Ian Book has played very well, creating for others, using his tight end. They love tight ends in Notre Dame. They just love them. So we will see. I personally think things would have to happen for Notre Dame not to get in if they lose. If they lose to Clemson in a close game right now, Clemson's favored by 10.5. If they lose to Clemson, like if they get blown out, I don't think the committee puts them in. I think they're going to put Texas A&M in ahead of them. Clemson moves up to 2. I think Bama's going to blow Florida out the water. That's the next game I'm going to talk about. Well, I'm going to talk about that a little later. Florida can't stop LSU. You can't stop Bama, period. That's all I have to say about that. So I think Notre Dame might squeak in if they win. I think they might squeak in. I did not know Texas A&M's game. Oh, it's not canceled. I'm thinking about Indiana's game. I think they might squeak in. I think they might, but I think if Texas A&M impresses the committee and just whoops Tennessee and they get whooped by Clemson, Notre Dame does, I think the committee might put A&M in. They might leave Notre Dame in. It just really depends. But if Clemson loses, they're out. That's simple. The controversy comes if Notre Dame wins because Clemson's going to be in with the ACC title. There's no more controversy in the SEC. If Bama beats Florida, they're in. If Florida beats Bama, they're not getting in as a 2-loss team. They will keep Bama in. I think Bama's the only team they'll keep in if they lose because there are 3 undefeated teams in the college football rankings, top 4 right now. Clemson's the only one that has a loss, and it's against Notre Dame. And they're playing each other. Ohio State doesn't have a loss, but if Northwestern beats Ohio State, I don't think they're going to put Ohio State in. I think they will replace Ohio State with Texas A&M, maybe. But I think things have to happen for A&M to get in. But A&M would be a 3. They wouldn't be a 4. Hear me closely. A&M would be a 3. They wouldn't be a 4 because I don't think they want the semifinal to be Bama and A&M because Bama will be number 1. Now, let's throw this out there. If Bama happens to lose against Florida, they're not putting Florida in. You lost to LSU. Now, this is where the controversy would come in if Florida were to beat LSU. If Florida were to beat LSU, if they would have beaten LSU, the shoe game, if they would have beat LSU and then turn around and beat Bama, do you kick Bama out the college football playoff? That's where the controversy would come in. Because even if Clemson beat Notre Dame and Florida beat Bama and Florida had their 1 loss, they would put Bama in ahead of Notre Dame. Trust me, they would. Okay? We know they would. So that's where the controversy would have came in. But if Florida beats Bama, I think Bama stays in it. They stay in it. Florida's not getting in with 2 losses. Now it's 2020. A 2-loss SEC champ could get in 2020. I don't see it happening. If you can't stop a freshman quarterback at LSU, you're not going to stop Mac Jones and Najee Harris. Your defense is just not up. Your offense is up to par, but your defense is not. Welcome to the Big 12, Florida. I said this the other night, and Michael and Garrett laughed. Welcome to the Big 12. Offense up to par, defense is not quite there. That's just life in the Big 12 for a lot of schools. For University of Oklahoma, they used to be life in the Big 12, but the defense is playing a lot better. All right, we got Boise State and San Jose State. That's on Fox at 3:15. That's the Mountain West Championship. Michigan and Iowa got canceled. What is Michigan going to do with Jim Harbaugh? What are they going to do with Harbaugh? What are they going to do with Harbaugh? What are they going to do with Jim Harbaugh? He should have been gone. Now this game right here has a lot of implications. I think Cincinnati can get in if things happen and they beat Tulsa. So Tulsa plays Cincinnati for the American Athletic Conference Championship, 7 o'clock on ABC. So Cincinnati finally gets a primetime game. You guys have to see how good Cincinnati is. Their defense is really good. Quarterback is very good. The committee's going to get to see Cincinnati. But we talked about this on the show. They put teams ahead of Cincinnati on purpose. They put a 2-loss Georgia, a 2-loss Florida, a 2-loss Iowa State, all above Cincinnati on purpose. And OU is just right behind Cincinnati, which I don't have a problem with that at all. We got 2 losses. All above Cincinnati on purpose. The only team that should be above Cincinnati right now is Texas A&M at 5. I think Cincinnati should be 6. Florida shouldn't even be in the top 10. You lost to LSU. You shouldn't even be in the top 10, in my opinion. But they put Florida in the top 10, I think, because they're playing for the SEC championship and they won the SEC East due to head-to-head. Now, Georgia's a different team with JT Daniels at quarterback. When Florida played Georgia, JT Daniels was not playing quarterback for Georgia, and Georgia's a different team with JT Daniels behind center. It just is what it is. I've talked about this, of course. I'm repeating myself, but I'm giving it to you here on Ladies First. So Tulsa, Cincinnati, primetime game. You're going to get to see Cincinnati play in primetime. Thank you, scheduling committee, whoever you are, for giving Cincinnati a primetime game so people can really see how good Cincinnati is and how they shouldn't be that low. Now, the Pac-12 commissioner came out and said the USC is too low. I don't think USC is too low. You can say that about Coastal. They're right behind Coastal Carolina. I think Coastal Carolina is probably better. USC is where they're supposed to be. Pac-12 don't get that much love unless it's Oregon. They don't get that much love, and I think Oregon's going to beat USC. I just do. Slowfist, I like Slowfist a lot, but I really think Oregon's going to beat USC. I have Northwestern beating Ohio State. That's my upset of the day. I think Bama's a 17-point favorite against Florida. They're going to run Florida out of the Mercedes-Benz Dome now. That's what it's called in Atlanta, the new Mercedes-Benz Dome. They're going to run them out of the water. I think Cincinnati beats Tulsa. Clemson and Notre Dame. I'm going to go Clemson. Because I want to go Notre Dame because I want to see Cincinnati get in. I'm torn with that. My heartstrings are doing this, guys. They're doing this because I want to see Cincinnati get in. And I think the only way Cincinnati has a possibility of getting in is if Clemson loses to Notre Dame. That's the only way I think they get in. Because if Clemson beats Notre Dame, I think they keep Notre Dame in. It's 2020, though. It's 2020. I don't think a Big 12 champs deserves to be in. I just don't. I don't think they deserve to be in. But I have OU beating Iowa State. My upset pick of the day, Northwestern will beat Ohio State. Ohio State's a 20-point favorite. I got Northwestern upsetting Ohio State. Now, I want this to happen because that means it's 2 spots. So if Notre Dame beats Clemson, they're in. If Northwestern beats Ohio State, they're not going to put Northwestern in. They aren't. So this leaves 2 spots because we know Bama's beating Florida. It's 2 spots. So this will be a Texas A&M spot because they have to beat Tennessee. Texas A&M beats Tennessee, they're in. If Northwestern beats Ohio State. Cincinnati. If I'm looking at Iowa State and Oklahoma. I don't think they should be in. I don't think a Big 12 champ should be in. Now, if it was a 1-loss Big 12 champ, yes. If Clemson loses to Notre Dame, that kicks them out. This is where Cincinnati has their chance to get in at that 4th spot because the top 4 would be, in my opinion, if these things happen, Alabama, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and Cincinnati. That should be the top 4 if those things happen. Now, let's say Ohio State wins, they're in. Notre Dame still wins, they're in. Bama wins, they're in. That fourth spot gets interesting. Do you put Texas A&M in at 4? You put them in at 3. Do you jump them over Ohio State? Or do you leave them at 4 to see a Bama A&M? Do you put a Big 12 champion, which I don't think they should? Do you put a 2-loss Big 12 champion, whether it be Oklahoma or Iowa State? Do you put Cincinnati in? Do you look at Coastal Carolina? Do you look at USC if they beat Oregon? There are some teams that could possibly get in. It's 2020. I'm not holding anything back. But one thing I know for sure, if Clemson loses, they're not going. They're not in. If Northwestern wins, they're not going to put Northwestern in. They're just not. They'd rather put a 1-loss Texas A&M team that got throttled by Bama in before they put Northwestern in. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. If OU or Iowa State wins, I don't think they're going to get in regardless. I just don't see it. It's 2020. It might happen, though. Does Cincinnati get in? How does Cincinnati sneak into that top 4 spot? The only way I think Cincinnati sneaks into that top 4 spot, the only way, 2 teams have to lose. And I think those 2 teams are going to be, because if Bama loses, they're staying in. They're not putting Florida in it. If Notre Dame loses, I think they might keep Notre Dame in it. Clemson has to lose. Ohio State has to lose. That is the only way you're probably going to get in, Cincinnati, maybe, because Texas A&M is above you right now. Even though we've already seen Texas A&M and Bama, they will not put Texas A&M against Bama in that first matchup. More than likely, Texas A&M would take that 3 spot. You would have that 4th spot. So I think 2 teams have to lose for you to get in. And those 2 teams have to be Ohio State and they have to be Clemson. Because if Clemson wins, they're getting in. I want to see it, guys. I really do. I want to see Cincinnati get in. I don't know if I want to see Texas A&M get in, though. But they will put Texas A&M in ahead of Cincinnati. Now, say, for instance, that game in Tennessee is close with Texas A&M. And Cincinnati blows Tulsa out the water. And Tulsa has 1 loss, and they're ranked in the top 25. They're ranked 23 right now. Shout out to Tulsa 918. Do you put Cincinnati in ahead of Texas A&M of quality of win? Do style points matter? Because coaches talk about this a lot. In the BCS, style points matter. To the college football playoff, the style points matter. That Ohio State, Iowa State, and OU game, I get my Iowas and Ohio's mixed up. Iowa State, OU game, I think is going to be close, but I don't think they're going to get in. I wouldn't put them in. Coastal Carolina, what do they have to do to get in? Do you put Coastal and Cincinnati in? Ooh. Now, that would be some 2020 type stuff right there. That would be very, very 2020. If Coastal Carolina blows out the Raging Cajuns, mind you, Raging Cajuns have quality wins now. They blow out the Raging Cajuns, Louisiana. They beat BYU, had a squeaker in Troy. I think that was kind of like their deflated game. You're like, we kind of relaxed against Troy after having an emotional win against BYU. Do you put Coastal Carolina in and Cincinnati in? I don't think the community's going to do that. But it's 2020. They might do it. You know, they never know. Let's say if you put Coastal at 4 and put Cincinnati at 3, and you got Notre Dame and you got Alabama, that would shake the country. The Big 12 would go bananas. Either Iowa State or OU, like, what the heck? They would go crazy. But right now, Coastal Carolina has the best record in college football. And Cincinnati is undefeated. They're undefeated. So what can you argue with? Strength of schedule? Okay, Big 12, you lost 2 games. Okay, Iowa State, you lost to the Raging Cajuns already this year, and we blew the Raging Cajuns out. What argument would the Big 12 have? Quality wins? Oh, you blew 2 leads to Iowa State and Kansas State. Iowa State, you lost twice. Once to a team we just blew out. And who else did Iowa State lose to? And then you lost to Oklahoma State, which OU blew out. So just toss you out the conversation. We're just going to just going to punch you at the conversation. I'm kicking right now. You can't see it, but it's going to be mayhem. It's going to be college football mayhem. I'm telling you this right now. It's going to be something to look forward to, but I would love to see a shakeup in that top 4. I think Cincinnati should be at 6 right now. That way, if they win and one of those teams loses, they're in. Would I jump them over Texas A&M? I don't know. The only reason why I don't know is because we've seen Texas A&M against Bama and they got throttled. Would you just plug A&M into the 4th spot to see them get throttled again? Or would you put them in that 3 spot, leave Ohio State 4? You can't jump Ohio State if they win the Big Ten championship. You cannot jump Ohio State. Because Ohio State is going to move up because 2 and 3 are playing against each other in the ACC title game. So you could do this. If Notre Dame loses, you can flip and Ohio State wins. You can flip Notre Dame and Ohio State. Clemson would be 2. No, Ohio State would be 2. Clemson would be 3. Notre Dame would be 4 if you want to do that. Which I think that's the best. I think that's what's going to happen. If all the dominoes shake out the way they're supposed to. Ohio State wins. Texas A&M. Ohio State wins. Bama wins. Notre Dame loses. Clemson wins. All they're going to do, Ohio State's going to be 2. You're going to reward the Big Ten champ and give them that 2 spot undefeated. Clemson will be 3. But they might move Clemson up. 2 and 3 don't matter. They're interchangeable. Notre Dame will drop to 4 and play Bama. I think that's what they want to happen. I think that's why they put the top 4 the way they put the top 4. The only way I see Cincinnati getting in is if Clemson loses. Then you have a controversy, and then Cincinnati wins. It is impressive on national television in a primetime game against Tulsa. Then you have that controversy of, do we put A&M in or do we put Cincinnati in? But A&M has to beat Tennessee. That could be a trap game for them. I know I've talked about this a lot, guys. It's just so exciting for me to talk about because there will always be controversy. We had an unwrapped panel where we talked about, not panel, but we had an unwrapped committee where we talked about top 16, top 8, top 4. It was very fun to talk about. But I'm going to end this segment with a lady, Tara Vanderveer. Tara Vanderveer has now become the winningest coach in women's college basketball. That's Tara Vanderveer. She's been coaching at Stanford since I had it. Okay, she's been coaching at Stanford. She won against Tennessee. She surpassed Pat Summitt, late grade Pat Summitt, University of Tennessee for record wins on Tuesday night, and she's still coaching. She's still going at it. I love it. Pat Summitt was the winningest coach of all time, and then Mike Krzyzewski passed her because Pat Summitt had 1,098 career wins. She passed away. She got Alzheimer's, quit coaching, passed away. Mike Krzyzewski took over that, and now Tara Vanderveer is number 1 in the women's game with 1,099 wins. So shout out to her. They beat Pacific pretty badly. They're the number 1 team in the country right now. People on social media were sharing their love, showing their support for Tara Vanderveer. Been a great ambassador for women's college basketball game. I can't say enough about her. I've been watching women's college basketball for a long time. I want to see how long she's been a coach at Stanford. For a long time, for a while. She's 67 years old. And she has been at Stanford since 1985. Been there a long time, since 1985. Long time. She has 2 NCAA Division I tournament championships. There has to be championships. There has to be. There has to be championships. Yeah. Won her first title in 1999, then won another title in 1992. A lot of 12 Final Fours, 25 Pac-12 championships. When they were in the Big Ten in 1982 to 1985, she has 4 of those. 4-time Coach of the Year, 10-time Pac-10/Pac-12 Coach of the Year, She got the John Wooden Legends of Coaching Award in 2014. She's a Big Ten Coach of the Year twice. She won a gold medal with the University of Atlanta. She won a gold medal in Atlanta in the Olympics in Atlanta in 1996. Yeah, she's done a lot. Tara Vanderveer has done a lot for the women's game, so congratulations to her. Stanford's number one team in the country right now. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. Will she break Mike Krzyzewski? Will she catch up to Mike Krzyzewski? Who knows? If you guys don't know, Duke canceled all their non-conference games. Your team just isn't good this year, Duke. Kentucky isn't good this year either, but you don't see Calipari complaining. But anyway, I just want to give a huge shout out to Tara Vanderveer. This is Ladies First. Start the show with women. We end the show with an amazing woman. We start one talking about women, talk about women's sports, and we end the show talking about amazing women. So shout out to Tara Vanderveer, the head coach at Stanford University, currently number one team in the country right now. She has 1,099 wins. Can she catch Mike Krzyzewski? Only time will tell. Been coaching at Stanford since 1985. Very stable program. They have a chance this year to win a national title. We will see how they finish in the Pac-12. I'm pretty sure they will run through the Pac-12. I think Oregon and Oregon State, probably their biggest competition is Oregon in the Pac-12. So we'll just see. We'll see how that goes. I'll be keeping up with that journey as well. All right, guys, I'm going to give you some scores before I get off of here. Let's give you some scores because I'm going to watch Thursday Night Football. The Chargers are up 7-3. They're early in the second quarter. It's 1st and 10 on the Chargers, 35 for the Raiders. Looks like they're in scoring position. I can't talk tonight. Ooh, that Kansas-Texas Tech game is, let me click. 1 point with 17 seconds left. Come on, ESPN. Come on, ESPN. See, ESPN is doing me dirty, y'all. Doing me dirty. I ain't going to be able to see it, guys, because I got to get off of here. Kansas is down 56-57 with 14 seconds left. Let me see if they can show me what happened. Kansas got an offensive rebound, and they called a timeout. Creighton beat St. John's 94-76. NBA action. I didn't get to talk about the NBA today. I will dive into the NBA next week because it starts next week. Hornets and Magic playing right now. Pistons and Wizards. Spurs and Rockets. You guys know the James Harden thing. Hawks and Grizzlies. Timberwolves and Mavs are playing right now. Later, we got the Warriors and the Kings on ESPN. We got the Jazz and the Clippers. Haven't talked too much about the NBA. Been kind of focused on the NCAA. South Carolina got back to their scoring ways, and they scored 103 points on Temple. Don Staley, good job. Good job. Carolina's up 13 at the half on Syracuse. UConn won 80-47. Let's see how much Miss Page had. Box score. Page had 11 and 7 rebounds and 5 assists. So she's still doing her thing, per usual. All right, guys. Next week will be episode 18. What is next week? It is Christmas Eve. I'll probably do a show for Christmas Eve. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a show next week. If I don't do a show next week, I will definitely see you guys next year. But I might take Christmas Eve off, and I might take New Year's Day off. I'm not sure. So there might be a 2-week break before you get episode 18. There might be Christmas Eve. And after Christmas Eve, we have New Year's Eve. So you guys might not see me till January 7th. So I'm going to just say this. You won't see me until January 2021. January 7th, to be exact, will be my next show. I'm going to take Christmas Eve off. I think I have family coming in. And then New Year's Eve, I'm going to take off because I'm going to be glued to the TV watching college football and things like that. So you won't see me until January 7th, 2021. You guys have a safe holiday. Have a happy new year. And I will see you back. Episode 18 will be January 7th. Hopefully I can have my special guest by then. We'll be talking about all things women's college basketball. And then I'm going to have some fun things for you guys in 2021. I have some new gear for you guys. I have my new show, Count the Bucket with Andrew. But I really appreciate the support here in 2020. I started this show back in August, and we've been going strong since. So I really appreciate the Unwrapped Sports Network. And I appreciate everybody for supporting me and my Unwrapped Sports Network family for supporting me and everything I do. Before I sign off, I'm going to pay bills. Is the reason why I'm able to do this show. So teespring.com/store/unwrapped. Get your gear there. I will probably have some ladies first gear coming out. I will let you guys know about that. Mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit up to $1,000. The minimum is $50, I believe. RxHemp.com. Use the code RxHemp/USN to get 10% off your order. Sore achy muscles. Got the CBD cream for you. Can work that out. All right, guys. I really appreciate you guys. I won't see you again this year. I will see you back with episode 18 on January 7th. This is Lady First, and this is me signing off.